Hello and namaste. My name is Dhrumil Jayesh Bhavna. My profession also adds a prefix to my name, RJ. But I'm also a voiceover artist, sometimes an event host, a self-proclaimed chef, a solo traveler, and a theater actor. With my career, I like to keep my options open. I don't want to retire at 60 by saying, "Good evening, Meri Jaan, aaj shehar ka traffic itna hai." Though I love my job, I love what I do, um, but I also love the paycheck that comes at the end of the month, so I be nice to my job. Over my past 18 years of experience as a radio professional, I very recently realized that I'm a millennial. The internet has boxed people born in 80s till late 90s are considered millennials. And from my own personal experience, my lived experience, and about people that I meet every day, I think we millennials are the most confused generation ever because we are constantly oscillating between courage and confidence, between ambition and anxiety. And that's the reason I want to talk about the conundrums about being a millennial. Maybe by the end of the talk, we might find a toolkit for the youth of tomorrow. At work, we millennials are just surviving. At home, we are constantly reminded of settling down, while the definition of settling down is constantly changing. Our relationships are only going down south, and to have a child today, it is a financially calculated move. Unlike the previous two generations where babies were born out of a power cut. We are that generation that is raised between a cordless phone and a mobile phone. We have had the first-hand experience of using an internet. I don't know how many of you would remember, but those computer lab classes where we removed our shoes and went inside, those cyber cafes where we paid per hour and chatted with people from Philippines in Yahoo chat rooms. But still, we cannot keep up with internet. We have seen the technology shift over years. We have seen the VCRs, the cassettes, the Walkmans, the CDs, the MP3 players, and the iPods. Yet, we now pay subscription to listen to our own favorite music ad-free. Do you remember when we were kids, people in their 30s were the coolest uncle and the coolest aunts? They were settled, they were happy, they were healthy, they were making money, and they were the life of every family function. And we are not even an inch close to that today. Although we are more connected than ever, but fundamentally isolated and unseen. The generation above us got married at 24, had a home at 25, a child at 26, another child at 27, and a paunch at 28. The generation after us is born with a LinkedIn strategy, a crypto portfolio, and boundary setting skills. At work, we are hustling, but still we feel guilty for resting. We think we have done a lot around the year, but try and sit with your boss for that appraisal meeting when he will make you realize that you have not done anything. At home, we are constantly reminded of stability. Beta, save something for your retirement. Don't spend too much on e-commerce. Yet our weekends are dedicated to home repairs and possibly grocery shopping. And let me not talk about our social media. Because goddamn, whenever we open our social media, somebody is either getting married or remarried or divorced or moving to another country or is taking a luxurious vacation. And I don't know how do they do that with the little money they show as income to the IT department. And what do? We are just trying to keep one plant alive and still failing at it. We are the generation that introduced the concept of self-care, those Korean face masks. But trust me, no face mask is going to smoothen up the economic anxiety and the existential pressure. We are the generation that adored change. We switched from using plastic straws to metal and glass straws. We try and avoid single-use plastic as much as possible. But how do we avoid the existential dread when the AQI is above 200 on most of the days, and sometimes in a year, the prices of a kg of tomatoes are expensive than a liter of petrol? Every 3 months, there's somebody who reminds us that AI is going to take your jobs away. And if you don't stay ahead of the curve, you will be irrelevant. So what do? We get inspired from an influencer on Instagram and subscribe to their crash course on AI. And yet, we cannot keep up to it because we already have too much on plate. Do we rest? No, we do not, because rest is a subscription we cannot afford. But we millennials, we have great friends. Friends in different cities, friends who are miles apart, and Instagram memes are keeping this friendship alive. We are anxious. We sleep with 69 thoughts in our head. We wake up tired, puffy-eyed, and yet log on to that Zoom call with a smile. But apart from all these shallow things you will feel, you know what is the most difficult part about being a millennial? It is to see your parents grow old. It is to see them have wrinkles on their skin. And all of a sudden, there is a power shift in the dynamics of your house. There were times when your family considered you before making a decision, and now you got to make a decision for your family. It's a responsibility you never asked for. And I don't mean it financially, but emotionally as well. And when you get married and have a child, it only adds up to the responsibility. Imagine if this is difficult for a guy, how difficult would it be for a girl, especially a single girl child, to leave her family forever? And I'm not cribbing as a man-child. I'm trying to explain this in the most humane way as possible. I've never shared this before on a public platform, but I lost both my grandmothers 10 years apart, my maternal and my paternal, when I was on the show, live and smiling, alive and kicking. I somehow wrapped up my show and my emotions and did what was needed. But it is between these two instances I grew from a boy to a man. And it is then when I realized that sometimes showing up is enough. And it's not just the millennials, it's about everybody. Raise your hand if you have cried in the night and still went to the work the next day. Raise another hand if you have helped somebody when your world was falling apart. And give me a hey when you felt like a failure, but yet you tried the next day. I wish somebody told us millennials that you are enough, you are grace, you are dignity, and you are fine. But why somebody else? We have stopped being kind to ourselves. And once we learn to be kind to ourselves, because the last line I say on my show every day is, don't forget to be kind and compassionate towards one another. We'll realize that we, the millennials, are Mr. and Miss Dependables of this century. We might not go viral, but we keep the world from collapsing away. We might not be celebrated every day, but we are trusted. We are the quiet backbone of every system we feel we are failing. Pat your back sometimes, because being a sandwich generation is not easy. And once we are kind to ourselves, we will see how far we have come, how we always stick around, how we always make things work. And that's the reason being dependable is a superpower. Being dependable is a new age toolkit or an age-old toolkit for everybody tomorrow. Look how far we have come. Do you remember your first home? The one that you bought now is a little larger than the home that you were raised in, and your parents are so proud of you. The phones that you use today is far more expensive than the first CTC package you drew. The places that you travel now are the places you once saw on postcards in your geography books. Millennials have turned side hustles into careers. We have normalized therapy. In fact, we have goddamn funded that industry. We have brought concepts like diversity and inclusivity into mainstream. We have raised children who know more about consent at 5 than what we knew at 25. We have pushed for awkward conversations and a better work-life balance so that the next generation, the Gen Z, can set boundaries. So the next time you feel you are not seen, or you are average, or you're a mediocre, remember, my dear millennial, that extraordinary moments happen because ordinary people kept showing up every day. We are the generation that turned confusion into courage, pressure into progress, and showing up into a superpower. Not just the millennials, I want everyone to repeat after me. We are not average. We are not mediocre. We are the heartbeat of this century. We are the ones who balance tradition and change, fear and hope, work and life. We are not waiting for the history to notice us. In fact, we are writing the history one dependable day at a time. To all my millennials, don't forget to be kind and compassionate towards one another. Thank you, everybody.